Good news, everybody. So I just want to talk about manifestation. Uh, so manifestation is weird, right? A lot of people write it off as like a platitude. I'm like, oh, like people start complaining to me about things, and I'm like, what's? I was like, oh, like, yo, what's wrong? Like, you broke your magic wand, like, just manifest it, right? Like, what's, do your magic, your rituals, you're aligned, you're woke. I think like when people uh, politically and socially fully understand what the word manifestation means and like other people's works of manifestation, and what people fully understand what yeah, like when people just fully understand what manifestation means. But so I just want to talk about manifesting. I guess like the way that I do it seems very quick and easy, but sometimes to me, when like I have manifested things so fluidly, so randomly, that at any time in my life where things aren't manifesting like instantaneously or within a week or a couple months, I'm like, oh, I must like something, my bond must be broken or something, you know? Um, so, uh, like, so that's why I just want to make this video and share some. I don't know why I feel so anxious. Okay, but like as soon as I start recording, I feel like anxious. Um, yeah. So it's just I want to share like this one story. It's like they're real simple things. I used to do photography, and just battling vibration and self worth and whatever. I was watching some TV show, and I don't remember the name of the show, but it's like it was on Fox. It was like a pretty big show, and I think enlisted something. It was something about being in the military. Enlisted, unlisted, something about being listed. And the guy that was like the lead, I was like, oh my god, like he's so hot. I was like, Jesus Christ, like he's so hot. Like I was like, dudes like that don't even come to DC, right? Like I don't even like don't even worry about him, right? And this isn't like, a video of backdoor brags or like, oh look how cool and East Coast my life is. It's just I like, and maybe I'm Pollyanna where I just don't know that, oh, everybody, maybe everybody around me is living this type of life, which I mean there was a lot of people that, whatever. But to me, through like the circumstances that I've overcome in my life and mentally, physically, spiritually, I look at almost every instance as some sort of miracle. And just from the sense that I had such a low moment of being like, oh, like I'd like literally from saying I would never meet this person, like this would never happen, which goes against all of the and I don't know what date I said it on or what phase of the moon it was when I said it. I mean, I don't remember right now. I was observing the phases of the moon, but I don't remember any of those details. But I can tell you that it wasn't through positive, and it wasn't through positive energy or positive affirmation. I was like unintentionally using negative affirmation. And maybe that's the universe being like, oh, you think you're down and out, like here's a gift to show you, like, how to really go about moving things forward in your life. And positive affirmation has worked for me at certain times, and I guess at certain phases. And just like, when planets are in phases with Aries, it's time to focus on yourself. Uh, when planets are in Scorpio, it could be times to focusing on yourself, but then also focusing on reclaiming things that were taken from you. Revenge. Which also does talk about like Taurian energy um, as well, because, like just to deify celebrities whose birthdays may be fictional, but like James Brown, like, when I think of like the Get Back. But anyway, manifestation. So I don't remember this guy's name, and I feel like if I say it, it's gonna be wrong. But literally was like, I'm never gonna like people like him don't even come to DC. I'm never gonna meet him. Blah 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 blah. Right? Literally, cut to I'm doing photographs at an event. He's there. I want to say a week later. So it's like, okay, he's on a show on Fox. It's a press tour. He probably is going to go to every, you work in this sphere. He probably is going to go to every, New York, DC, blah, blah, blah. But I just thought it was very auspicious that we would align in that way from me having been from such a negative space. And there's other, and because of that instance, there's been other instances where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to manifest that. And a very low ball type of way. Like I would to say if I were bowling, it's like not asking for strikes. Like, oh, I don't want to get all strikes because then I'll get a turkey and then I'll bring too much attention to myself. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, I just want to kind of like 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Um, but I don't think there's anything wrong for asking for turkeys. I don't think there's anything wrong asking for strikes or asking for perfect scores, or to be at the top of your game, because I think there's a lot of people out there in the celebrity sphere that are at the top of their game that a lot of people don't want them to be there, or they think like they're not worthy or blah blah blah. It has really changed from the Wayne's world of like fans not feeling like they're worthy, where everyone just feels like the celebrities themselves are not worthy. So it's like I don't know what they have to do to really cross that bridge, but that's not the point of this video. This video is to talk about like uh, positive affirmation or just affirmation in general. It doesn't have to. I mean, it should. I guess yin and yang. Wu wei. It should be a mixture of positive and negative things. I guess, or like and the improvement of negative things and the glorification of positive things that are already shining and radiating in your life. And also the expansion and cultivation of your language skills, because you can add very beautiful and flavorful vocabulary in your affirmations that can also help you expand your speaking skills, like your clear audience skills, whatever. Okay. So that's just my one story. Like I used to do photography, and that's like maybe several times. It happened so much or so quickly and those few times that it was like scary, you know what I mean? Like, um, and just to like out myself, because like, I don't know, I think about this too a lot. Like, I think about, like a gay president or a gay politician, which I think it's actually kind of a really funny notion because I'm like, well, how gay? You know what I mean? Like, how gay is this politician here? You know what I mean? Do they like hold hands with somebody one time? Do they have like it's like the only time where it's like the witch trial would be turned around. It's like, well, how much of a witch are you? You know what I mean? How witchy what did you get? Um, but I guess like to out myself as like a gay politician, uh, I was so obsessed with Adam from Girls in from HBO, right? I think I think I don't know what his real name is, but like obsessed about him. Watched the whole first season of Girls. I don't know how people on a DVD. I don't know, Blu-ray something. Um, I don't even know how I watched it. And like, oh, on HBO, I guess, whatever it came on. But watched it. I was like, oh, that guy's real cute, whatever. And then he was playing Darth Vader, and I've always loved Vader. Like my favorite Star Wars is Vader. Very controversial. I like General Grievous too. Um, I don't like the Jedi. Jedi's are weird. Like low key, Jedi's not the heroes. Um, but it's just the red lightsabers look too cool. But then he was playing Darth Vader, and I was like, oh, okay, like that's very synchronistic, Oh, well, at that time, I was just like, that's cool. But like now, I'm like, oh, like a high key synchronicity with me. And then I was at some like maybe that's just like depression or something, some place that I was bummed out to be, like, some place I wasn't even really happy to be at. And lo and behold, he was there. You know what I mean? And I know that even kind of seems like, I don't know, it seems like I have like, and I was a photographer, so I literally had photographic evidence, and I didn't shake his hand. We didn't fall in love and run away together or anything like that. I did take his picture. I took a couple pictures. You know what I mean? Um, like not even with him and myself, just like with me and other people. I feel like I was pretty respectful. But then, and that seemed like such a rare occurrence. I'm like, oh, that's so rare. But, and maybe this is just once again, just like, this isn't divine synchronicity. This is just everybody's life on the East Coast. But, I met him, this one time. It's just like a bunch of. Okay, so I think this is actually a synchronistic because it is sort of like Mandela effect. So I'll talk about this. Um, I was at the Lowe's. I feel like I remember that I was at the Lowe's in Georgetown when it was not so nice. It's not even that nice right now, but like when it was a lot less nicer. The Lowe's in Georgetown, and I feel like Shaq was in the theater with me and my family. Not like with me and my family, but like I think he was there with like his basketball team. And I believe we were watching the Shazam movie, or we could have been watching another movie. But I remember like there was a crowd of people chasing him down in like Georgetown, tourists as there are in Georgetown, and like my cousin, my brother, and myself, because cheetahs, we chased them down. You know what I mean? Like we caught up with them, and like I guess we were like they thought that we were chasing them because of their basketball team, but we had just seen him as a genie. He just played a genie that could like summon like enormous amounts of candy. So we were like, oh, where's the effing candy, dude? And he was like, do you know who these guys are? We're like, no, do they have candy? You know what I mean? Like, who are these people? We saw you on the movie. You are a genie. You have powers to summon candy. Where's the candy? And I think he gave us all like $20 or something, which like $20, 1990, whatever, like it's like $50. But it wasn't a I mean, I don't know. I don't truly remember all of my thoughts at that time. Maybe I did really want to meet him, but it seemed like a manifestation. And not to say like, manifestation, there's been other manifestations that have brought, roofs over my head, friendships into my life, love into my life, water and food to my table. These are just kind of like very blatant, like, askings or denials of being given from my foresight. You know what I mean? Like, because there's sometimes, I start to receive messages like, you know, someone like begging and pleading me into travel, like, oh, don't, and it's like, oh, don't make me go there, like, don't make me travel, I don't want to go there. And I'm like, who am I? I mean, who am I to like deny this opportunity that hasn't even been presented to me yet? So, yeah, uh, just be accepting of how good your life can be, and I think that's the thing to focus on. So if you're going through a breakup, if you are going through just some type of life change and it hurts, just focus on like what's good. And I know that might seem like delusional or whatever, people want to make how other people want to make you feel, but simply sitting and focusing on pain over and over and over again every day is not the way to heal. The only way to heal is to focus on healing. You know what I mean? Like, you can't sit there and be like, I need a band-aid, I need a band-aid, I need a band-aid. I mean, that's kind of part of manifestation. I need a band-aid, I need a band-aid. So you get a band-aid and you put the band-aid on, or whatever it is, like whatever the actual panacea for whatever is bothering you actually is, whatever the cure is. You can't meditate on the pain. You have to meditate on the cure, I think I should say. And that's what manifestation is, and that's what I do with these affirmations, where I use intuitive affirmations, which is pretty much I just plug the cards into my astrological wheel, and I'm like, okay, so I'm like, okay, so and so needs affirmations. And the reason why I like the intuitive affirmations opposed to the reason why I like the intuitive affirmations opposed to the uh like any other kind is because even asking you like, oh, what do you want? Because you, like I've said in other videos, you might be a sheep manifesting wolves. You're like, oh, I'm this like sheep and I want to date this wolf. And it's like, oh, like who am I to tell you what's good for you? You know what I mean? But we'll just see what does God want for you? You know what I mean? Whatever. So, just, whatever. So it's like you need help with your self esteem or your self confidence, right? So that's what the first card will talk about. And, like, I'm seeing the Queen of Cups reversed here. So it's like, you got to break away from sob stories. A lot. And the thing is, so I don't know who this like pertains to or whoever this is going to be helpful for, but a lot of times you sob stories, illness. The Queen of Cups reversed talks about the sun sign of Cancer, and sometimes the disease of cancer, and it's like a lot of people have like, for better or worse, have gotten a lot of attention and celebrity from surviving and beating cancer because it's like something a lot of people deal with, and it is very brave to say like, oh hey, like I have cancer, I'm dealing with it in this way. I'm getting chemo. I'm not getting chemo, or whatever it is, and then I'm healing. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, so like we talk about these diseases, right? Like all these illnesses, all these diseases, and let's say like mental illness, like, oh, so and so's crazy, they bipolar, so and so, they have Tourette's or whatever things being cast upon them, right? Uh, you know, it's one step forward to say that, so and so is wild, but they're healing. They're healing from their trauma. Are continue will probably continue to be a little bit crazy, but they're trying to get better. They're trying to have better behaviors. Um, and I'm gonna close out on this with Dixie Carter from Designing Women, and she talks about like the crazy people in your family, and she says like people down south, we bring them out into the parlor and we put them out front because it's like you got to know how to deal with crazy. You know what I mean? You can't think you're the only one going through dementia or loss of memory on your own. Like other people are going through everything that you're going through at the same time simultaneously, and that's actually one of my so I'm talking about these manifestations and me meeting these celebrities. They weren't in boxed rooms. You know what I mean? It was at an event, at a party. A lot of people see these manifestations, and I would even say in my life's journey, meeting these people are very very small, like dots along my path, like not even lines, to that I know that people in my surrounding neighborhoods and people that I went to school with witnessed manifestations that we all manifested together. Um, yeah, so with the affirmations, I would go through the whole chart. So I'd be like your self esteem, your money, things with your siblings and your family, things with your emotions, your sex life, yada yada, all the way through with cards, because it taps into things that you may not want to speak about outright. And the thing is, like, autism is a spectrum, and I'm like, I don't feel the need to mask myself from my autism. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit, I am like, like Popeye, like I am who I am, like, you know what I mean? Like, I am not trying to deceive or mask anything about myself. Like, I just feel like that makes me feel so uncomfortable. I literally, as a kid, got pneumonia. Like, I'm so against being encumbered. I used to like not wear a coat so much that I got pneumonia. You know what I mean? So like, I can't be encumbered by like junky feelings. I wear coats now, though. I wear coats now, though. Um, so that is a thing. So, but just like Dixie Carter said, like, you have to put your illnesses out front in the parlor room. And, that even makes me think of, I always, like, I just think at this point everyone has to know that the fact that I have this cute chibi logo is pure fucking irony, because it should be like a skull and crossbones. It's always something so grievous. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but like, even to talk about like more, I guess, like things that more people have more stigma against is like so like the AIDS and HIV outbreak, like in the 80s, is to talk about Dixie Carter, talk about designing women. You're like, oh, it only affects like gay and black people. Like it's killing all the right people, right? Uh, that's how you lie with statistics. And even with like these newest outbreaks that are happening, they're like, oh, well, it's only happening to these people. It's only happening to these people who cannot pay to have their records subtracted from the public record. And even in the TV show Pose, they talk about like how your insurance can be impacted for even being tested and blah 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 and all these archaic things. So I'm just like, and I'm not trying to be like stereotypical or whatever, but I think it is like very stereotypical or even like apropos of like black people or of black people's water sign people, gay people, to be like, oh no, there's something wrong with me. Like I'm sick. Like I'm usually like up and I have a lot of energy. Like there's something different here. You know what I mean? Like hello, I need help. And for other people to kind of like suffer in silence or to doctor their records because they're politicians and whatever. And you know and just because I said I was going to close out 10 minutes ago, another 10-minute story is that I saw this comedian and he really hit it home for me. I wish I knew his name and could give him credit, but he said this thing about like he's like, there was an uncle back in whatever day talking about how I think FDR can't walk, and everyone calling him crazy and ostracizing him and saying that he's a fool, until it comes out in history, damn, whole time FDR couldn't walk. Uh, and this, and in the different kaleidoscope of perspective, someone could be saying, well, maybe he manifested that. But I just want, at the punchline of this video and of this waffling and rambling, to say that I don't believe manifestation to be a platitude. I sincerely believe that through vibration, through your speech, through your word, just as the universe was created by a sound, just as Ra sang a song that brought upon creation, just as the Abrahamic God listed things that were good to him, herbs bearing seed and other things like of that nature. Those are things that were professed and then became true upon the firmament. So wherever you're coming from, Zen Buddhism, if you're coming from a place of science, if you're coming from a place of African spiritualism, if you're coming from a place of Christianity, Islam, and any type of Judaism, this maybe George Washington is a figure that's deified in your life, deified. Anybody, it's us, any celebrity or whatever, trust and believe they know that these like manifestations and miracles happen because of how they get to point A to point B. It isn't all Illuminati death cults. But everything under the sun is real and not new. So now that I've scared you, good. I will see you in my next video. Bye.